right, gentlemen. January 14th, Manchester United, 2-2 draw. How do we feel about it?
Quiz.
Episode? What is this episode?
Episode
Six?
six. Episode
Wow.
six.
Crazy.
How far we've come.
How time flies. It does seem like a lot of time between games, though. I know that there was that sort of holiday fixture thing, but it just seems like we're waiting forever and ever and ever.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and isn't there a weird break coming up where it's like there's only half the
Yeah.
games next week, and then the other half are 2 weeks from today, basically, or this weekend.
And some of them next week, I think, are part of this week's fantasy schedule. So it's really hard to keep straight. But anyway,
To the match.
how do we feel?
I feel good. I felt like it was a great game.
I feel fantastic. I think that we probably deserve to win, despite what, like, I don't know if you saw any of the aftermatch like interviews. Eric Ten Hag thought they were the better team, which is completely ridiculous. I mean, they were kind of good on a
They were good on the break.
counterattack, I guess.
Time. Yeah.
But I mean, they really didn't have very good, they only had they had 2 shots on goal and they both went in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the official
6.
stat? Was that the official stat?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was ridiculous that he felt like he said something about them, being 2 soft goals. And it was like, those were 2 great goals that weren't like lapses in defense or anything like that.
You didn't defend well on the corner twice. There should have been 2 goals from corners.
That was a great header.
Romero was like, I mean, that was in.
Yeah.
I mean, and then to call the second goal a soft goal it was in the run of play. It was soft because they didn't defend well, but to call it soft.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you're calling your defense soft if that's a soft goal. That was good on us.
It just feels like a pouty response to a
welcome Timo Werner.
Yeah.
Well,
I like
good assist.
Hey, he hasn't. I forget what they said. He played like 17 minutes of football in the last 6 months. It was something ridiculous like that. I forget exactly what the amount was, but I mean, he for 70 minutes he hustled. He, clearly isn't like completely into the progression of play and to the, the way that, Ange likes to move the ball. But I thought, he had a couple of shots. Not terribly good ones. That one breakaway, I felt like he should have put on frame, but that was very much like the Richarlison one last week, where he just kind of dragged it wide. And
I have no desire to be critical of him. I mean, he's been here not even a week, right? So like
2 days. I think he had 2 days of practice.
Right.
Yeah, after the physicals and all that stuff.
I think there was a lot of promising.
I'm fully on board.
Bits of play that he had.
Fully on board.
I think his speed is going to be it's going to fit right in with what we're trying to do. And I think once you can sort of see what he can do alongside Son, alongside Kulu, when Kulu's back, I think it might do Johnson a little bit of good. So maybe sit down for a little bit. Watch some of the older guys play.
Just on Timo today specifically, I felt that, like I said, I don't want to be critical of how he played. I think he did really well fitting into the system, coming in so early. But there were a couple opportunities where it was like, oh man, I wish Son was the one on the ball right now. Like there was Skip had a tremendous ball towards the end of the first half. It was just on a dime, in stride. You're like, that's the ball that Son has made his career off of. Handling that ball in the final third and then ripping his shot, putting it in the back of the net. So it was like, it's just, if that was on Son's foot, you think that, it's going in the back of the net. But all in all, I think he had a good game.
That's true. I think that's one that I was referring to in dragging it wide. But I mean, he did, he got himself into a position where he could take a shot, put a shot on, it's just the end product wasn't what we would hope for, but
right.
I'm fully in. I think it just, the way that sort of transfer came out of the blue, I and then to hear, because I liked him at
Chelsea.
at Chelsea. It's just, but I liked it when he messed up because he did it quite frequently. But I mean, he put himself in
And they're
position.
but notable mess ups too. It's not just a mess up. They were, on goal, wide.
Yeah.
They were bad.
And you almost like that and you can even pre-match, during the match, after the match, you get the sense that announcers are sort of like, it's Timo, like he's going to pull it wide or he's going to do this and that. And there's something kind of nice about he's going to be playing to rewrite that story in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He wants to shed that. He's got something else to prove. And he's also got nothing to lose because if that's.
And he wants to be on that German team, for the Euros coming up.
Yeah,
I mean, he wants to
that's
show that he can, he's deserving of a spot. So I think we have nothing to.
Yeah,
it's just, it was great.
I
so
like that.
How should we structure this combo? Should we talk about the game and then the players, or should we talk about, or just sort of let it flow?
Wherever you want to take it. I mean, we could start from the top. We could start lineups. I mean, the only thing that I want to say about lineups is, welcome back, Van de Ven. I'm so thrilled to see him back in the lineup.
And Romero. And I mean,
Romero,
that
yeah.
back line, the whole thing was like, okay, here we go. But then you get this with Skip and Højbjerg.
That was first. Yeah, that's the first thing I saw with Skip. Oh, Skip. Oh, Højbjerg. Oh, but you look at the bench and you're like,
there's nobody.
No other.
I know this will skip ahead a little bit, but like at the end of the game, we were out of gas. There was just nothing left in the tank, and there's no one to put on the field. And then, we can come back to that later. Yeah. But it's just, what a heroic effort by everybody involved, and getting that second goal so quickly was huge, because then they could just sort of, all right, we tied it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can still probe, but we exhausted a lot of our, we shot our wad, really.
And to get it so early in the second half as a viewer, it was like, all right, now we're playing for the win.
I thought
for the tie.
When I texted you, I really thought it was going to be like a 4-3 game. That there was not a goal after that was really surprising to me. But
yeah,
anyway.
that was wild to not have another goal. I thought that was going to open the floodgates a little bit, but.
So then the starting lineup, we've got those two putzes in the middle, and then Bentancur. I mean,
hang on. Let's go back. I don't know if we're talking about players right now. And Skip did not play bad.
He didn't play bad. He did not play bad
today.
I will say, again, I think that goes back to, and just put him in front of Højbjerg on a couple of occasions. The last couple of games, he's played in front of him.
So is that, so there's two things that play right there. Is it purely just play in Ange's system as well? But is it also have to do with the transfer market? Are we hoping to offload Højbjerg?
I hope we do. I never want to see him on the pitch again. I really don't. If I never see him again,
come in and he can still and he played fine today. I don't know. He had some like weird Højbjerg-isms.
And maybe it's because that's all I see are the like misplaced passes and the passes that never will get to it. It's just like, and then he does some good things, and I've sort of yeah, okay, whatever.
I just love that I know each game I'm going to receive the text in our group chat that he's doing it on purpose. He's doing it intentionally.
I'm convinced.
He just doesn't fit. He doesn't. Skip and Højbjerg, they don't fit what we're trying to do. Again, Skip had a good game. Højbjerg was fine, but they just don't.
And Skip,
they don't feel good when you see their names.
He's useful as cover, I guess. Maybe like if Sarr goes out, or I mean, just the difference between him and Sarr is.
They're not even in the same.
It's night
realm.
And day.
No.
And I think they're playing the same position, and I think probably Bentancur is better suited for a role a little bit deeper than he was playing today. But man, is he's fun to watch. He is so silky. It looks so effortless. And he makes these great runs. That his goal was like, what the heck? The shoulder is skillful. Like he looks pretty tall to me. And to have the dexterity to kind of take a couple of touches wide, and then the shot was just.
And he just does it without any sort of nerve.
Him and Madison.
I know.
Oh, Madison. Can you
When Madison
imagine?
comes back,
Basuma, Bentancur, and Madison. Oh my God.
that's scary.
It's scary. And then and then your bench just becomes so exponentially better. Then you've got
Hmm.
people that you can bring on. Maybe it is Johnson, or maybe it is Timo, or maybe it is Kulu for all we know. If they decide to
Hulu
play.
bring, yeah.
And can we what's the latest on Madison? When is he due?
I don't know,
They said hopefully by Man City, right?
Oh,
for
for the
that
next
That
FA
for
Cup
that
kick
FA
game?
gone
Cup
away.
game. I mean, that'd be
I
Yeah.
sweet.
yeah, I was asking that would be ideal.
We'll almost be at full strength at that point.
Yeah. You don't see him starting, but I didn't see Romero starting either. I thought they were going to put in Dragusin right away,
I thought he looked good.
but I guess he didn't look bad, but I sort of expected him to start. But I guess when you're sort of three captains are all out, you sort of play the one that's still there in
I thought
Romero.
it was funny. One of the I forget when it was. Maybe in the first half, kind of somebody was picking a fight, and or they were sort of messing around. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was on a free kick, and the announcer said, "I don't know if I'd be messing with. If there's one person in the league that you don't want to mess with, it's him." And
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
because he was trying to interrupt the free kick, the quick free
oh,
kick.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's who it was. It was Holland, or whatever his name is, Hoyland, or
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying with Romero when yeah,
yeah.
that was good.
No, he's a stud. So
Poro,
then up
how did we feel about Poro today?
He's
He's
just
good. I
he's
think.
just always good, we rely on him for those set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Every single
Yeah.
corner was like almost spot on where you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you don't really he's just sort of he's not you can't just say he's just there, but he's always solid. He's always dependable, and he's always like in it.
Yeah, you could say he's
Yeah.
always there at any point in he just seems to always be involved, and it doesn't matter if it's the sweeping ball across the field, the set piece, or even like there's some instances where he's just playing like a chip shot that's 20 yards, but it's a pass up to Johnson. You're like, how did that land on his foot? Like it seemed like he had no room to go with it. What I also thought about Poro today, and after reading after the game, people seem to think that Rashford is like back and had a really good game. I thought he was like, he just
I thought he's
seems
good.
overhyped and like okay. I mean, he probably could have had two or three really solid opportunities, but he had such a shitty first touch that it was like,
True.
eh. He kind of blew it for himself.
And the one goal he did score, it was a bit lucky. It
It
was
was a
sort of
bit
like,
lucky, but it was good.
and
It was a
they
good
were given
finish, but it fell right to him.
Yeah.
well, they were giving the
Yes.
assist to but really it was Odogi intercepting that little
Mm-hmm.
touch, and then he shot it through Van de Ven's. I don't know how Van de Ven didn't stop it, because it kind of went through. He was going down, and it just those balls between the legs. It's crazy how often they come out.
I know.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
hockey.
but I mean, it was a good goal. Whatever.
Yeah. I just don't I
Yeah.
don't I didn't see what other people are seeing in his performance today.
No, I wouldn't say
But
he's back, and
I thought Rashford played pretty good. If there was one person that I was Garnacho and him. I think that Garnacho guy's gonna be really
I
good.
felt like Udogi shut him down.
he did. That's what I
The
feel
only
too.
time I felt glimmers
I mean,
of Garnacho
Udogi's gonna
doing
shut down
anything is
anybody though. I mean,
I don't feel like
who's he not?
Garnacho is a
Who's he not
stud.
gonna
I mean,
stop?
he only has a couple goals this year, and that one wonder goal, that overhead kick, everybody's like, "Oh my
What?
God, this guy's incredible."
He's 18,
But
isn't he?
I think he's 19, but it
Oh,
doesn't matter. It's still
18,
young.
19 years
But
old, and you're doing that. I
he's
mean,
so like skeleton. He looks like Matt sent that picture, or Sam sent that picture of, what is it? What kind of fish is that?
I think it was just called a blobfish.
Can you show it on? Bring it up and show him. I mean, he is so weird looking, but he's
Yeah.
fast. He is.
Yeah, no, I hate to do him dirty like this by pulling up the blobfish. But
It's like he's
I felt as though the only time that he was like he might end up doing something in this game was when they made some substitutions and then threw him on the other side of the field. So he wasn't standing up against Udogi anymore. So I felt like they had a good battle bit the
Yeah.
entire game, really.
It was just it seemed like there were a lot of balls going to the left and to the right, whether it was to Garnacho or to Rashford.
So will this come through on the
Poor
record?
guy. Poor guy. I shouldn't do that.
Oh well,
It's too bad.
we get the idea.
Uh,
So then up top we had
no, but
Timo.
back to Porro. Hang on,
Oh,
back to Porro, because I think we were still that whole thing started because of him. And everything Sam said was right, but it was all sort of like, again, offensive oriented.
Mhm.
Defensively, he continues to make pretty good tackles.
I think
He gets
so.
back into position. I mean, when the pundits are putting up against Trent Alexander-Arnold, I mean, I think he's really doing himself a favor out there. He's gonna be put up there with some of the best right backs, just like Udogi's one of the best left backs.
Well,
They're
and
crushing it.
Alexander Arnold really isn't a left back any longer. He's more of a I don't know what he
Yeah, I
comes. He
know.
kind of squeezes in that. I guess it's kind of that inverted thing, but I don't think he starts out that way. I think they play more, in my opinion, more of like a back three.
I still think if you're putting your name up there, I think
Oh, 100%.
stud. Yeah, no, Porro. I think Porro's
I thought Van de Ven played
just
a little
like,
tentative.
he's yeah,
It's to
and
be
rightfully
expected.
so. Somewhat of a thought that I had. I know maybe I'll have it when we go into the gameplay, but all right. So that was Porro. Who's next?
I think it was just sort of bouncing around the lineup. Any notables? I think let's get into the game. I mean, we all know who
So
played. And
just thinking about Porro, and I felt like, so I was super excited to see that back line, right? It's your sort of OG that started off the season really well. I thought this is going to be great. And then we get scored on in 2.5 minutes. And I felt like, especially throughout that first half, there was just, maybe it's them getting used to playing again, but even with Vicario, I felt like there was, I don't know if it was like there was miscommunication or lack of communication, but there seemed to be something missing in that back line.
Well, if you want my
half.
opinion, it's because Sara and Basuma aren't there. I mean, there's not that connection between there's not that progression from the back line, through the middle, then up top. So I feel like that's probably the difference. We're not going to look as good until we get those guys back.
Yeah, I just think there were a couple notable plays where it was like, I think Udogi knocked one out for a corner when it was straight to Vicario, and sometimes maybe it's just player instinct to get it out of the way as fast as they can. I just thought there was,
oh my God,
especially around
he almost put it in the back of the net.
When Vicario was right there, there was nobody else there.
No. This was that one.
Saying.
you're talking the header.
The header. It was
but I know what you're talking about
post.
too, Matt. There were a couple.
No, there was another pass.
Like,
there was just that there were a handful of times when it was like,
yeah,
they made it harder than they needed to be, and I hadn't seen that in a while.
Safety first, though. I mean, that's fine.
If I'm remembering correctly, a couple of those were, I mean, they had worked hard that entire game. It was getting to like the 70th, 80th minute where it's like, all right, you're sort of hoping you get another opportunity in front of goal, but you're also sort of playing for the tie. You don't want to give it up. And it's like, all right, let's get this ball out. Let's catch our breath for a minute and let's defend this corner if need be.
I did think that was kind of weird. You talk about the 70th minute when they bring in Dragusin. I mean, it was a little later than that, but like, what position was he playing when they brought him in? It was because they replaced Skip with him, and like, did they change the back
when you thought it was going to be you thought it was going to be Van de Ven?
Yeah, I thought so.
Right? That's what I assumed that was going to be it, but.
Well, because then they brought in, then Royal came in.
Well, he came in because then Van de Ven couldn't take it anymore, and they had to bring. But thank goodness for Royal. I mean, that guy, he'll do anything. I hope we keep him. He'll do anything.
Yeah. No, I think he's.
I mean, him and Davies. We have to keep both of them, in my opinion. They always have.
He's doing it well. Like Royal is doing a great job at whatever sort of he's being asked to do.
Anything we ask him to do, he does.
Yeah. Well, I think the defense continues to sort of look good no matter what. You can interchange pieces. We even have some midfielders that I could see coming back, whether it's a Hoiberg, like, because I feel like he's better on defense anyway. Hill is the only person that you have to bring in when you get to the midfield.
Absolutely nothing except flap his hair
fine.
around.
No. There were some good passes. There were some.
He is the only person coming off that's the best thing we have coming off the bench. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. So that's my point. So 100% agree with that. I do think that he played fine. I don't think he didn't put us in any positions. He brought some energy onto the field. He was coming to the ball. He was trying to make some give and go passes. I was fine with the way that
it didn't come to fruition.
No, but at that point in the game, again, he's coming on and playing with these guys who have worked their tails off for the entire time so far. I think he was fine, but it sucks that he's your guy that's coming in.
Yeah.
He's the only thing. I mean,
I'd almost rather throw Davies in that position.
I know.
Let him give him a shot.
To draw Man U away.
Davies is injured. You can't do that.
You probably
can't do that. Davies
to draw with Man U at Old Trafford with basically one sub.
He's not on the bench.
It's crazy.
Wait, I think there was a bit of a skip around there.
Oh.
What happened?
I mean, it was Hill and then a bunch of
guys that never get on the field, like Alfie Dorrington, and I mean, we don't even know they can play at this level.
And every once in a while, there's a guy who I've never even heard of before.
Santiago, apparently he's like crushing it. I'd like to see him, but I don't know. But you can't just put him in. I mean, you can't put him in. I don't know. I mean,
there's people you've heard of Donnelly. Yeah.
And even he's only
had
like Richie, has he played 90 minutes yet? I don't think so. I think this is the first time he's actually had to play the entire game. Because Valise would come in and like relieve him for a little bit, and we don't even have that.
No.
They were gassed.
No.
So I'm super happy with the way they played. I'm super happy with the effort, the fact that we kept them to a 2-2 draw. That there was a lot of discussion about that McTominay.
McTominay.
He probably should have done better with that. But on the other hand, you could say, you could argue that Romero should have done better with the header on, at the end of the first. So you can't really go back to that moment, but it was pretty. Oof.
And so late in the game. I mean,
I'm so glad it didn't go in.
Same. And they were saying something that there's never. I can't remember exactly what the time frame was, but they've never lost a game
when they've
led
at halftime.
Ever,
which is crazy to me. I can't imagine that's a thing, but apparently it's true. And I think we had opportunity to win that, really.
Well, again, I feel like you see the 2-2 draw. Again, I feel like we controlled most of that game. It was the concern on the break for Man U that was scary, but again, it's just sort of like your inability to finish, and when you're playing a system like Ange's, like you got to be able to finish, and this is a time when you sort of miss some of those linking pieces.
Well, I think that's the key point. It's probably a fair result given that we had nobody to substitute. I mean, we had like I said, they were gassed. There was no way that we really were going to be able to.
Casemiro.
I don't like him. He's old. He's old.
He is old.
Yeah, but when he did play, I felt like he's a presence that they needed.
All he is a thug. He's more of a thug than Romero. But when you're back on the defense, would rather have him in there because he's slow. I'd rather have him. And Eriksson they took out because he was, he sucked. What did he do? I don't know that he even touched the ball.
No, he was. Every once in a while they'd say his name, and I was like, "Oh, that's right."
I forgot he was on the field like 40 minutes in. I'm like, oh, I forgot Eriksson was even playing today. But I was just
Yeah.
looking, there's like Luke
Romero.
Shaw, a couple other that are injured. But every team in the league, we're, right
Yeah.
up there with one of the people
No, we're
that's
getting super close. I mean, we just need a couple of people back, and then it just changes everything. Matter comes back. Then we get
You got to stay healthy.
then we get Sun and Sar, and I mean, it's just going to be crazy how people are not going to want to play us.
no, and
As long as we're healthy.
just from like a storytelling perspective, I mean, this team has been through it this entire season. I mean, the highs and the lows I mean, not honestly been that many lows, but once this team is at 95% strength, all these players that have been filling the gaps are going to be, it's this period of injury is just elevating everybody's game. That this
That's very
squad is
true.
going to be like last year's Man City. I mean, even this year's Man City, but just a team where the second squad has the experience and
Very true.
like they're just going to
Yeah.
be so good.
And then they're going to actually be able to contribute when they have to come in
Yeah.
and sub. Like if people get tired or injured, you're going to have confidence in the players that you have on your bench that have been like stringing this, what is it, 4 of the last. So we
Yeah.
didn't win today, but we up to today we'd won 4 of the last 5 Premier League games. So we've not lost 5 of the last 6. I mean, it's
it's
crazy.
just
six
They're
goals
all
in
just
so
getting
different.
experience.
Yeah. So different than bringing on that guy who hasn't played in 4 weeks and just like you're looking for that desperation jolt of energy, but you're not really sure if they're going to give it to you because haven't played or don't know what it's like. Everyone's going to know what it's like because they've gotten
So many
5 touches in
options.
important moments.
What do you think about the transfer window? Do you think we're going to get somebody else in or this
I see
year?
at least
I
one
mean,
more.
not this
I
year.
see at
This
least
in
one.
January.
Yeah, I see at least one more.
Really?
I mean, I think with, what you did, so being able to offload Jed Spence, I think, and then making sure that you offloaded, I had his name earlier.
Dyer.
Tall dude. No, not Dyer. I mean, Dyer is one that you were able to offload as well. Ashley Phillips, who, by the way, in his very first match at Plymouth, won player of the match.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he got player of the match in his very first game. I thought that was really cool.
Did he score a goal?
Unsure of his stats. There was
Wow.
a picture, like they had a Plymouth Flyer or something that said that.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that's positive news for him. But being able to offload all these guys is awesome, right? That's
Regulon's not gonna. He's
3
going
there.
back out. I know. Huh?
Yeah, he's gonna go
He's
back
going
out
back out.
Yeah. I think there were like 2 teams that were looking at him. I think
Brentford.
the latest I heard was Brentford. Yeah. So, and if he doesn't go to Brentford, I think there was another team. He needs to go, I feel like, to Spain or but being able to offload those guys, I think then gives us that space to bring more guys in. We don't have to worry about getting rid of people to bring people in.
What
Connor
positions are we looking at?
I think it's
Just get
a
Conor
mid.
Gallagher. Just get Conor Gallagher. Like,
Would you
stop
be
the
good with
BS.
that?
I would love Conor Gallagher.
So
100%.
whose spot does he take when everybody's healthy and back?
I think he plays on. He could play on the sides, or I mean,
He could
I
happily
mean-
take Hoiberg's spot right now.
Well, no, when everybody's back,
I know.
who does he step in for? I mean, I'm not going to put him in. I mean,
Over
I think
Madison.
it's like Bentancur. I'd much rather see Bentancur in there than.
I would think that would be a fantastic decision for Ange to make. I don't.
Yeah. But then you're going to pay $50 million for, or whatever, 60 million.
I'm not paying anything. Who cares?
But I mean, is that really a smart money decision? I don't know.
If you have to force Ange to make a decision because you have 2 studs on the team, do it. And again, I think he's going to be a versatile. I think you could be a versatile player. It makes for fun decisions for the person in charge.
Do we need another striker? Do you think Richie is good enough?
I keep hearing a lot of people talking about getting another striker. You could when people are healthy, you could put Timo there. You have Son. You have 3 positions.
Oh, you're not going to do it. I don't think you do it this January. I think it's in the summer. I think,
But I've been
whatever,
hearing
6
people
months.
talking about another striker. And I think that's not necessary. I think, yeah, do it in the summer. I would say either another center back or a nice midfielder.
But
You
it's
could
all
always use
coming
more
up.
center backs.
Everything is coming up roses. Everything's coming up roses. Honestly,
That's
huh?
maybe somebody to strengthen Udogi, another left back.
Well, I mean,
'cause
so
you've got
speaking of
like,
that, where was Sessegnon? He wasn't even on the bench. So is he hurt again or what?
He's
he's here.
I mean,
he's back eating donuts.
seriously,
I don't.
what is he comes in for what, 20 minutes and he's hurt again?
Oh, I have no idea. That's funny because he played last week.
Not very well.
I mean, okay.
I didn't.
He
I
looked
did
fat
not
and
pick-
slow, and he got in positions. But like if you're not going to have Regulon as your cover for a doggy, you would have to think that it must be Sessegnon. But where was he?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You don't. I guess I would love to have again. I'm saying that Udogi's, I think, probably the best left back in the league.
Oh,
but
he is a man. I still say this: a man among boys, even at the age of 20. He is a man among boys. But one of the announcers said something near the end of the game today, and this is the American announcers or for the American audience. He does seem to go down pretty easy.
I have it quoted.
We don't want that to be like a reputation.
I mean, he comes from Italian football. What do you want?
But then, like the last couple of, Sam, I think we talked about it. I forget what game it was. Where he was getting dragged. I mean, he was getting actually pulled down and refused to go down and made that run from basically his box to the other box. Was it the Burnley game?
It was 2 games in a row where he just had.
It's like he refused to go down.
Exactly.
So I don't know, like, what is.
I didn't find because when they said that, I'm like, that's ridiculous.
When was that? Was that when he went down in the box in
but I think
was like late in the game. I think I felt like somebody was keeping a check box or had had it ear. It's like you watching Hoiberg. Like they had it in his mind that he's going down easy, and then every time he goes to the ground but I didn't find him because he's not like going down through this theatrics and looking for he pops up pretty quickly
but he did go down pretty easy. I think there was a ball that was going that Garnacho that was like he totally bossed the ball away from Garnacho in our attacking end, and then like drove the ball into the box, and Garnacho was right behind him, and he kind of touched him, but went down, and I think that was sort of the precursor to the time where
that was in the box, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it was like, no, you just stay up.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of the precursor to that one incident where you were mentioning, like late in the game, it's just stay up.
Yeah.
Don't go down. Anyway.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Stud.
But he is a stud. Love him.
Back to my original point, it would be nice to have somebody who you felt really comfortable coming in to play his role, because now that I think about it, like Davies really isn't going to fill that role the way that you want him to.
I mean, I think Sessegnon could be that person. But like, where was he today?
I don't want to think that. And Sessegnon, since he's been here, has really shown nothing much. I mean, every once in a while under Conte, maybe you saw something, but I'd like to have somebody who you feel good about coming in.
Not Regulon.
If they need to, and you don't feel good with, you don't.
So is there some kind of weird illness? What's this illness thing that's been running through the?
I mean,
Ange
just
made
while
mention of it.
While we're on Sessegnon, I'm just looking at trying to see where he was. There's a couple articles. Looks like Man U's looking to swoop him up.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So maybe there's something there.
Maybe, but like Kulu is sick. There's some,
Yeah.
and even Ange made mention in the after or his interview after the game that there was something that was kind of swept through the team, this illness, and Kulu was the most recent. Like, I don't know, I'm not sure what it is, but maybe that's what happened to Sessegnon too.
This team is so close that they're just spending
So
every
close.
waking moment together that the illness spreads faster.
Yeah. Stop kissing.
Yeah, I know.
Who would kiss
yeah.
who in your opinion? Who is more likely to kiss another? And
That's
who
a
would that
weird
person
question.
be?
Yeah, I don't feel
but
like
it would
that's
100% be Van de Ven and Dragu.
Yeah, some fresh blood.
Pretty boys.
They certainly are. They all are.
Well, for those of you that aren't in our 3-person group chat that are listening, have made it this far. I mean, Jet Dad, you made the probably the comment of the week saying that our back four is the most handsome. No, what did you? The most attractive. And I wasn't sure whether or not you were talking about their performance on the field and their ability to play, or simply what they look like. And
I mean,
turns out your initial text was
it meant that they were all very good looking, but
handsome,
in actuality, they're also, in my opinion, whose back line would you want more? Can you think of anybody else? So you've got this really attractive looking group of 4 guys, but they also play amazing soccer. Who else?
I hear
I'm excited
you.
to see what that Dragusin can do. I think he looks like he could be a real big physical presence.
He looked a lot bigger than I thought he was going to do. Apparently he's 6'3". I didn't think he looked that big because I watched the Inter game. He actually scored a goal in that game. But like, he didn't look that big, but like he did look big when he got out on the pitch. So yeah,
I'm excited to see.
I just don't want him messing around with the hair too much. Like if it comes out of that bun, stop playing with it, because that's one thing I did notice in the Inter game. It's like it kept coming out of its bun, and he'd run back in position, and he'd kind of have to tie it back in his thing, and you know, just let it flop.
It's the way the Dragons do it. Yeah. All right, so to close out January, we've got Man City on the 26th for the FA Cup.
Are you which side of things are you on? I guess it really ultimately doesn't matter, but is it like, man, I wish we had somebody looking at all the other teams that you could have played. It was like, again, going out, let's go play the King.
I'm all in. I think it's perfect.
Cougars.
You're going to have to beat them at some point anyway.
Yeah. You're right.
And so let's just do it now and get them out of the way, and then see what happens from then on. I'm happy. I'm perfectly happy. And we're playing at home. And they like.
Well, I guess that's
they've not beat us for whatever 5 or 6. I don't know. I'm not a good statistician, but I don't think the record against
they haven't scored a goal.
They haven't even scored a goal.
They haven't scored a goal at the new stadium.
Is that
which
right?
Is again
it's something crazy like that,
which should make everybody else excited, but it does the opposite with me. It's like, Pep, you're going to tell everyone that Haaland's not coming back until February, and then surprise.
Did you see that Bob kid?
And,
oh my God!
And you've got
how does he keep coming up with those people?
De Bruyne looks like a
goddess. God. He is. He is the best player in the world, in my opinion. But
he's so good. I mean, he made an immediate impact.
Oh, De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
back looking a little grizzly.
I feel like he's trying to do his. He's trying to get the Jack Grealish teammate thing going. He's got like the long, pretty hair, and then
they're so good. They're going to win the league again.
Don't say that. That's for us.
Yeah.
No, if we just got to make top 4, and we got to be ahead of Arsenal. Those are my two wishes.
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, if
this
we beat
headline
Arsenal,
says
I'm
they're
sure
better
we're
than
in the
Arsenal.
top 4, but Arsenal, we're actually with the freaking Gooners, we're tied on points right now. They play, who do they play next week? Crystal Palace. And I think they play at Crystal Palace, right? So Crystal Palace is a pretty tough team to play.
Arsenal have been struggling as of late.
They've been struggling.
So
do they play anything midweek? Any like cup ties or Champions League? There's nothing going on this week.
Nothing going on this week. But I will say I spent some time with my work colleague that's a big Arsenal fan, and to just see to bring up the topic and see the defeat in his eyes about how poorly they've been playing gave me great happiness.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Weren't there some Arteta out claims being made?
He is such a weird guy.
He's
so
coming.
Strange.
Keep him coming. Arteta out. Send him away.
So we need to have Mickey and Justin come on to chat about Arsenal next time, if we get close to playing and Mickey's willing.
Yeah, it looks like we don't, not until April, end of April. And we've got Arsenal.
Good. Push it back. Hopefully it's a game that really means something.
All right. Well, good. I think it's a good draw.
I'm happy with it.
Probably a deserved result. We could have potentially come out with a nick to win, but I'm perfectly happy with it, particularly given that we have nothing on the bench.
And one of your starters got here a couple of days ago.
Well, yeah.
See.
You could argue that 3 of our starters got here a couple of days ago that with the injuries. You talk about Van de Ven and Romero and
Romero.
And I also think in a game
Timo.
In a game like this, the tie I'm totally fine with, but also it's just as much of a
win
to have these guys
at Old Trafford.
And it's a win in itself to have those guys, Van de Ven and Romero, come back off of injuries and remain and come out of the game without injuries, because that's always a fear of mine, especially with hamstrings.
Hopefully it's just a calf
cramp.
He said it. You could see him mouth cramp, and he ran off.
He didn't look sort of deterred at all.
He didn't look distraught, which is good.
Yeah. So
even when he went down, I could see that he mouthed, "It's a cramp or cramp or something like that."
What do we think about Big Ange with the face mask on?
That poor guy, the cough thing. I'm concerned for him. I feel like there's an issue with, if you ever see him do interviews, this coughing.
Oh,
he's constant.
I've noticed that too.
He can't be in very good shape.
I just hope he's on the sidelines smoking cigarettes, yelling at people to do
that would
things.
be cool. That would be cool.
No, but he had the cold. He had the cold mask.
Yeah, no, I think it got
outside.
I think it got pretty chilly as the evening wore on, because you could see it. I don't feel like I saw their breath early, but then as the evening wore on, I feel like I was seeing the
Kansas City, Miami game last night.
Yeah.
Anyway, good show.
All right.
We do something before between now and Man City, potentially.
Yeah.
Only if we get one request to do so. A single request.
Yeah.
So I was in
one viewer out there.
I was in we were in Jewel last night, and there was this kid. He was probably, I don't know, 17 or 18, and I was wearing my Tottenham hat, and he goes, "Tottenham?" And I'm yeah. And we how long did we talk for? It was probably 10 minutes. He knew everything. It was just this incredible conversation with this kid that absolutely could have been on the podcast.
Did you direct him?
I did.
Direct him?
So
Good.
hopefully he friends us at some point. So
Yeah.
maybe we have one, but I'm gonna go back and hopefully he's there again. But he knew all about the transfers. He knew all about the the injuries. He knew all about the people were going away on international duty. I mean, it was incredible. And he was only
Social media is a beautiful thing.
I said, how do you know? Well, I said, how do you know about all of this? And he said, well, social media. But then it's crazy. Anyway, so we may be expanding by one. We'll see.
Come on, you Spurs.